All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled The Cost of Being Trendy. I just wanted to talk about this, touch on this. I think I did it a long time ago, but I need to do it again. What happens is people go through these phases and these fads. And society has these waves, that everybody hops on the waves and then they ride it to the end, and then a new wave comes and they ride it to the end. And we don't want to say in life, there's a cost to being trendy. What I mean by that is, because I remember saying a long time ago, there's a difference between being classic and trendy, right? Classic is all the time, can fit your whole lifetime. Trendy, moment, right? But let's start with fashion. When you're trendy in fashion, you wind up buying things because it's the new hot thing. Because it's the new hot thing, you wind up wasting your money, because once that season is over, it's no good anymore. There's shirts, there's jeans. For women buy a lot of clothes. There's shoes, there are things that you wore for a certain couple of months maybe, and you can't wear it anymore. Depends on when you caught the trend, if you was on the front end or if you was on the back end, right? And a lot of people have wasted a lot of their money trying to be trendy, and it's a problem. It's gonna get deeper than that. I'm just gonna tell you. When it comes to your time, people waste their time being trendy. What happens, what I mean by that is, because everybody else is doing this, when I was a kid, they say, if all your friends jump off a bridge, you're going to jump off a bridge too. But people don't want to admit as adults, we jumping off of bridges, right? Because everybody's doing this one trend, everybody's gravitating to it, right? And it becomes a social gathering of people chasing the trend. The problem with that is this. It's just a trend. So now you're wasting your time doing stuff that you don't necessarily want to do or like to do. It's just your inner follower controls you. So now you going places and doing things and maybe going to events or participating in events. And when you're done, you're empty. You're like, I don't even know why I did that. I don't even like this stuff. I don't even like these people, But it's trendy, right? You get to take a lot of pictures and say you did something. That the problem with being trendy is a lot of times these trends, because they're not classic, they don't last the test of time. So there becomes a point where you're embarrassed that you participated in these trends. Let's go further. Tell them, Teddy P. Relationships. People don't want to say that they fell in love with a trendy person. A certain star is popping, then people are looking at dating people who have similar attributes to this star. When I used to go out, whoever was the popping music artist, all guys had to do was emulate that male artist, and guess what? The girls who like that artist will gravitate to that guy. And what happens is, you got chose because of a trend, and if that wave moves, then they're looking for an excuse to get out of it. And if you chose somebody because they remind you of a trend. What happens when that wave is over? Do you stay with the person? Because trendy people continue to follow trends. They don't never really settle down and know themselves. Because you never get to know these people that you're dating because you were dating the trend. It was a status symbol for you to date this type of person at this type of time in this little small era. But that didn't mean you like the person. And sometimes the people pick up on that. And the other thing about that is what happens when you outgrow the trend and it's not cool no more. Then you outgrow who you chose to be with. Just on the simple fact that you outgrew that trend and now that person is part of the trend. Also, one of the costs of being trendy is it costs you your life. You know, your self-awareness, your self-confidence, your self-sufficiency. Because what happens is you begin to lose yourself in these trends. Because you don't know who you are. Because when this season trend is in, you in this trend. When this season is in, you in that trend. When that season is in, you in that trend. When that season is in, you in that trend. But forget who. If other people know who you are, at some point you get lost because you don't know who you are, because you're waiting for a trend to define you as a human being. And you're losing your life that way. And this is how people wind up going through these little cycles where they forget who they are. And I wasn't like that. Yeah, you actually was like that. Well, I don't know why I was like that. Because you're a follower. And you followed that trend. And because you followed that trend, you acted that way in that time period. And when you grew out of that, you acted that way in that time period. When you grew out of that, you acted that way. You really took the trend thing to heart, like you became a character actor. You had to embody the trend. And whatever mood, mannerism, or ideology that went along with it. Right? So, of course, you don't see yourself as irrational and all over the place because you only see yourself in the current trend you're in, and you don't add up, look at the big picture and add up all the trends that you've participated in. Just my observation. Another thing is the cost of being trendy is it costs you your intelligence. Trendy people tend not to think for themselves. And because they don't think for themselves and they're constantly on the back end of a trend, they're not trend setters or trend makers. They're trend receivers, right? So they have no foresight, and they don't have the confidence to be the wave and create the wave. They're only there to ride it. So because they're only there to ride it, they lack the intelligence that they once had to be a free thinker. See, to be trendy, you have to give up your free expression, your freedom of thought. You have to fit in and assimilate and capitulate to the trends. And that's what most people do. And at the end of the day, like I said before, you lose who you are. And ultimately, the cost of being trendy is you live a lie. Because trendy people are too trendy to live in truth because they don't know the truth because they haven't spent any time in their own personal truth because they spent all their time in each trend. And each trend is a phase, a fad, a farce, a masquerade, which is ultimately a lie. So because it's a lie, and you keep trading one lie in for the next, life isn't going to stop because you live in a lie. So what happens is you wind up living a lie. It might be a brand new lie because it's a brand new trend, but it's still an extension of an earlier lie. So that's my 2 cents on this. We out. See you in a minute.